our market's taking a crap, and I will just say I am not a financial advisor. I'm not responsible for your losses, only profits.
Get ready for a new episode of KP Talks Dollars and Cents. Learn financial literacy and get real-time updates on all things housing, finance, and real estate. So let's get started. Here's your host, Kevin Perenio.
Hey, it's KP coming to you live from ICE Experience 25, the Wynn Las Vegas. Got big trade show here, and per usual, my audio probably is going to suck, but I'm going to try and speak loud enough, drown out all the noise in the background. Really incredible executive summit for some of the larger ICE mortgage technology partners, and I've been here at CCS today. And the speakers were amazing. I mean, obviously, the leadership team there, Jeff Sprecher, Ben Jackson, Chris Edmonds, and, Lynn Martin. There's so many of them up there that are just incredible to listen to. And they have some guest speakers, General Stan McChrystal, who is responsible for overseeing the military operations when they killed and captured Osama bin Laden and al-Sheikh al-Zarwi. I mean, so much. Hear him talk about leadership. And what I thought was interesting about leadership that he said was that they had after action reviews. So every time their teams would go into action, they would have a review with the teams. And they were basically trying to find out, okay, well, what did you learn? What's something that we can, hear about what it was like on the battlefield or in this operation or whatever it was you were doing. And it was very interesting for him to say that all the military teams were siloed. So think, for example, he talked to someone, he said, hey, are you part of the 82nd Airborne? He goes, no, I'm platoon 2, So think of our teams and our branches and, all of our originator partners that have an identity there locally and how they operate locally. By the way, check this out. It's a gorgeous little day, the wind. And what was cool is when they had those meetings, those after action reviews, they would find out the ground truth. And it really resonated with me that, hey, brother, that we have the ground truth that we try and discover in our own business. What exactly is going on? That's why I come to these shows. I want to hear what's working, what's not working, where things are going, what's next. We obviously meet with our teams and our sales professionals and our leaders, have open communication all the time within our companies, and we want to know what's going on the ground. Yeah, 23 sucked. We know that. I'm having challenges with underwriting a non-QM. Okay, we fixed that. It would be really nice if I had an easy HELOC product. Boom, we've got lightning equity. So all these different things that when you're, inspecting what you expect, like our retail channel director, Chris, likes to say, then you find out the ground truth. And that's super important. So great message from leadership today, General McChrystal. Katie Ledecky, the 1,500 meter and long distance swimmer, 800 and freestyle specialist, one of our most decorated female Olympic athletes ever. She was amazing. Her mindset is she doesn't count her calories. She debunked the 10,000 calorie a day Michael Phelps story too, by the way. So that didn't really happen. It was just he had a really big breakfast with a reporter in Europe and he ran with it. But she talked about how she just tries to beat her last goals and she preps and she swims 9 times a week, 2 hours per session. And she just keeps grinding. It was incredible to hear her mindset of how she just keeps raising the bar from literally one of our national treasures. And then the last speaker was Taylor Sheridan, who is the creator of Landman, Tulsa, 1883, 1923, Yellowstone, Come Hell or High Water, fellow Texan. And he had a lot to say about, just his thoughts and creative writing and, kind of a Waco guy through and through. Now lives near Fort Worth outside near Weatherford. Great to hear him talk about, his inspiration. And, I actually ran into him in the elevator. I was in between speakers 1 and 2, dropping something off in my room, and he was coming out of the spa. So I don't want to ruin his shtick, but he did go to the spa here at the Wynn. But he's a pretty tough guy, and was really good to get those insights. And so it all resonates with our business. So there's my on the scene reporting to you. Obviously, there's much more than that, but I only got 10, 15 minutes before dinner. And our market's taking a crap. And I will just say I am not a financial advisor. I'm not responsible for your losses, only profits. Stock market's selling off, and a lot of people have been asking me about it. It's crazy to see the uncertainty
take hold and create a sell-off in the stock market when there are fundamentally some really good businesses. Like Netflix isn't going to change overnight because of tariffs. Why is Netflix down? I could name a dozen businesses that have zero impact because of tariffs. And so it's interesting to see the stock market continue to sell off. I would just say if you're holding stocks, don't sell. Don't add fuel to the fire. If you've got a good business, it's going to bounce back. Because the way the stock market works is there will be a day or two or three in the coming months or even weeks where it just rips and you don't want to miss it, right? So nothing has fundamentally changed underneath. Yeah, we have a growth scare. Yes, there's slower growth and slower labor participation and little data's on the fringe like that. But at the end of the day, we have a very solid economy, a very solid job market. We got CPI this week, JOLTS report, job opening, labor turnover is coming out. Hey, there's Eddie Perez. Eddie. What's up, guys? The winner of our PRMG Cares LA Fires donation. He is going to get an original piece of artwork from my partner, one of our 4 partners, Gary Mouse's son, Caleb, who just filmed in New York an episode for Law and Order with Ice-T. Pretty cool. So, anyway, the stock market is going to come back around. It's a mean reversion. I did write in one of my posts, one good thing you could do is buy S&P puts, SPX or SPY, the ETF. You can buy a put if you think there's more downside pressure, and you could collect some profits like I have each of the last 4 weeks on something like that. But hold your good stocks, hold your good businesses. It's like our industry. 23 sucked, second half of 22 sucked, but our businesses were good. We were rooted. We were going through looking for, waste and abuse and spending when times got lean, and now we're much stronger coming out the other side. Same thing with our economy, same thing with a lot of these fundamentally good stocks. But I will say, there is something I read about called the fourth turning. It was very interesting. I'll just share this at the end. We're going through a overhaul. About 80 to 100 years, there's a change in our government. Think World War II, and now it's, the bureaucratic state is being uprooted, and fraud, waste, and abuse is being uprooted. Government inefficiency is being uprooted. Debt is being addressed. We have a big budget battle coming up next week, whether we're going to have another continuing resolution or not. So this administration, for better or for worse, I'm not liking these gyrations of the stock market myself, or their uncertainty, but they seem to be pretty steadfast. It was interesting to hear General Stan McChrystal talk about that with his insights being around the DC establishment for, a couple decades. So stay the course. Their businesses, rates have trended lower. I know you guys noticed it. I think the 10-year treasury is at 421 today, which was great. And, does any other weaker data, we'll see if that continues to come down. I will say some really interesting things that are part of that fourth turning, that turning of our government and what's going on in the changes is the investments being made by tech companies. Tech companies are seeing the future where there's less regulation on them and AI and all that kind of stuff. And they're investing in America. $500 billion committed by Apple to invest. Over almost $200 billion by SoftBank. Taiwan Semiconductor said they're going to put in like $80 billion or $100 billion and build right here onshore some foundries to create semiconductor chips in America. General McChrystal said that China has their leader, who's a dictator, has been there for quite some time, said before he leaves, he wants to take over Taiwan. What's going to happen when every single foundry where 90% of the world's semiconductors are made are taken over by China at Taiwan? So very interesting to hear all that kind of stuff and to see the investment, look, drill baby drill is a concept. I don't know, how much the oil companies want to get on board with, $55 a barrel oil, but if the deal is made, we'll trade you federal and government lands so you can explore and drill more. We all win. That's how you fight inflation. By the way, inflation's been going down. And so if you look at oil prices coming down, it gives a lot more free cash flow for us to pay for eggs, to pay for things that, are one-offs, higher home insurance or auto insurance or whatever the case may be. So some of these investments take time and it could be a rough year. But it seems like this administration is pretty committed to that fourth turning and creating a new landscape. So we're all along for the ride. Can't really influence it. I'm not up there in DC, but love seeing commitments of investment and deregulation and seeing tech companies continue to look forward in a positive manner. Have a wonderful week. I will get back to you Thursday on a family trip in a very cool place, Park City. Cheers.
Hey, it's KP coming to you live from Provo, Utah. I left the ICE experience Tuesday night, just a smidge early, although I was there Sunday, and took our family skiing in Park City. So just pulled them out of school, had to tear away. So anyway, here I am, and I apologize for not getting this out Thursday, but better late than never, heading into the weekend. Headed to TMC this weekend, and then, of course, after that is Stratmore Peer Group Review in Austin. So Road Warrior. All right, CPI, PPI, big deal, inflation. And then, of course, next week is the Fed meeting, which is the one that will show the dot plot, the summary of economic projections. So we're going to get a chance to see what the Fed is thinking. By the way, if you've ever been to Provo, there's a nice alternative from flying on super ass expensive Delta into Salt Lake City. Thank you, Joe Wilson, for the tip from Social Coach. This is Breeze Airways. I mean, it's my first time on it, so I swear to God, I saved like $1,700 flying me and my family, so it's worth whatever it is. So I'm trading down. I'm a consumer trading down, the airlines just got hit with all their warnings about soft consumer spending. That's me. I'm not paying $600 a freaking kid to go on a ski trip, especially just throwing a last minute one together on the books. So Dollar General reported very strong earnings. They said they're in a great position. People are trading down because there is a slowing economy. That's different than a recession, and that's different than a breaking labor market. And by the way, all the stocks, I know that they just kind of been taking a dump in the market, and I was asked a lot about that at ICE Experience. What my thought was, did Netflix change because of tariffs? How tariffs affect Netflix? I could name 6 stocks that have zero impact. But this was a market correction. So I am not a financial advisor. I am not responsible for your losses, only your profits. But I'll just tell you, fundamentally, most of these companies did not change at all. Yes, there's going to be some period where we're trying to find out what tariffs will do to impact certain businesses, especially when we don't know, like tariff today, gone tomorrow. That disruption and uncertainty certainly has the markets a little roiled. But if you look at analysts, the kind of way the stock market works is analysts, they look at stocks, they look at their fundamentals, and they say, they look at their earnings reports and look at data that comes out. There aren't a lot of ratings downgrades. So it's not like a lot of stocks are being, sell this stock, it's absolutely terrible. There's not a lot of that actually going on. So at least not with the quality stocks. So today, I'm not trying to claim a victory or a spike of football, but there was a nice little relief rally today. The stock market, as measured by the S&P, went up. That happens. That doesn't mean we've seen the bottom in this correction. So again, just to everyone who's looking at your stock, if you're a long-term investor and you feel like you have a good business for whatever reason, and I don't know your reasons, and I don't want to go through all your picks and tell you my thoughts because I'm not a financial advisor, but if you feel good about your picks and they're fundamentally sound businesses, then, just keep riding it because, with slowing growth and slowing inflation, which the CPI and PPI were tame, like 4 of the last 5 CPI reports are actually pretty good. I think January was the only really bad one. And so with CPI getting better, that will give more, rope for the Fed to finally do another cut. Right now, the market's kind of locking in a June cut and not necessarily a cut next week or even at the May meeting. But, things could change. So PPI was actually flat and negative, depending on whether it was the headline or the core reading. Now, some of the core goods, inside the producer price index, which is what makes up, some of these components make up the PCE, so the personal consumption expenditure, which is the Fed's preferred measure of inflation. Some of the internals inside the PPI were not great, but was it a one-time pull-through? Auto insurance, is it going to keep going up forever? Are people pulling through core goods because they're afraid of a tariff, like the ones we saw on aluminum, and electricity from Canada, or wine and spirits and whiskey, going back and forth between us and the EU? So it's interesting to watch all the back and forth, but I think I'll just take the same advice I gave myself and anyone else who asked. I'm not dyed in the wool like so about tariffs and they're amazing and I think they're going to be awesome. What I'm willing to do is try something new, and the reason why is because I think every person I've ever talked to about our debt and deficit says it's unsustainable. I don't think anyone has ever said, man, we should do more debt. We should give our grandchildren and our children more problems. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that, literally ever. And so if we don't change it, which, by the way, I mean, tariffs are very, very minor. I mean, 2.6% was the tariff rate on $3.2 million of trade. Maybe we go to 11%. Doge, they found a few $100 billion. Our budget's $7 trillion. So it's this budget battle that's going on, continuing resolution, whether we get a full one or whatever, that's where it really matters. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. If you've ever said, gosh, the government, this agency works so slow, or they move so slow, or everything goes so slow. Well, let's try something new. Let's have some new leadership. So I'm taking a wait and see approach. I'm not taking a they can do no wrong approach. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you Monday night on St. Patrick's Day from Dallas.
You've been listening to KP Talks Dollars and Cents, a top-rated show for those who want to learn about the economy and mortgage environment. Tune in each week for more episodes, and please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Kevin Perenio does not render or offer to render personalized investment or tax advice through KP Talks Dollars and Cents. The information provided is for informational purposes only and does not constitute financial, tax, investment, or legal advice. For more info, follow KP Talks Dollars and Cents on all of our social channels.